Due to following CBS School Break Special, Magnum PI will not be seen today. It will be broadcast tomorrow in the regular time period.
Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Now available to order at your local comic shop, it's Sal Abenanti's new graphic novel, The Hostage.
Hostage is set in the streets of Rio de Janeiro, based on the plight of the street children that live in the favelas. In the world of the graphic novel, being murdered daily, and the hostage is the evil spirit that is raised to avenge their death. Origins go all the way back to the indigenous tribes of the Amazon as the spirits that protect children, especially murdered children. The level of death that these kids have to endure every day. They have nowhere to sleep. They have no place to eat. They have to survive off of begging. There were nobody in capes that were coming to save these kids.
Pick up Sal Abenanti's latest graphic novel, The Hostage. Order now at your local comic shop through Diamond's Previews catalog. Code DEC221534. Welcome back, everybody. Time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show. John Suntress here. Always happy to welcome Matt Kindt back to Word Balloon. Great to see you, Matt.
How's it going?
Good, man.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, as always, buddy. I'm always happy to talk to you, and I'm so excited for you. I got to ask who the black and white poster is behind you.
I don't know. This is a print. If somebody, I'll send you a prize if you can tell me who that is. We've had this thing for maybe 30 years. I found it at like a antique store, and it looked cool.
Is it just a regular poster, or is it an enlarged photo?
It's an enlarged photo, like on and it was just like on film core or something. But then it sort of got messed up. Like this is all like water damage and everything, but it just made it look cooler.
Yeah, more vintage. Absolutely, man. That, of course, is silent screen star Edna Mae Oliver.
It could be. I looked up all the famous ones. I couldn't find a match. So
that is so funny. That's great, man. No, I love it. That's fantastic. See, all I got is my garbage on my kitchen counter behind me.
That's all right. I thought maybe I didn't know if we were going to do visual or audio today, so I apologize for my hair.
That's always your hair. What are you talking about?
No,
I love it.
I woke up like this.
It's easy maintenance. Absolutely, man. You know, I imagine you manage the bed head, and then you're like, all right, I'm ready. That's cool.
I work around the bed heads.
Well, dude, I'm very excited for the new book, and I've got the cover here. Hold on a minute. I'm going to scroll to it. And that is Spy Superb. Actually, I got both covers there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So, very cool. And this is through your imprint, Flix House?
Yeah, Flux House. And then this is the real cover.
Stand by.
Like if you see this on the stand, this is what it looks like. Spy Superb is a trader. And then that's to disguise the real cover, which is...
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then there's a receipt on the back. There's definitely a secret code to be decoded.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's great. Is there a key in the book or whatever?
No, you're gonna have to straight up code break it. And I think somebody broke it today on Twitter. They posted most of it, and then there's a word missing at the end. You have to sort of fill in the blank there, but
that's fantastic, man. And not surprising, because I think back to other books of yours like Super Spy, where you've done fun things like that. I'm so glad that you're not only writing this but drawing it as well. I always love your art, and I really appreciate that it is not traditional, or realistic art. That it is your own style, and it just makes your books that much more personable. And I'm so glad that Super Pulse, the marketing guys, sent me the advanced PDF for Spy Superb. But tell everyone the concept for it.
The concept is there's a organization, a spy organization that this is terrible too. I'm horrible at describing my own books. Anyway, they think that the best agent, super spy or whatever, is a spy that doesn't know they're a spy. So they pick people at random who are just basically everyday people. In this case, like an idiot, and they use that person to like as like kind of a mule to carry documents or transfer things or carry out spy missions without even knowing they're doing it. And then over the course of this, I don't know if it's usually one or two, the guy, he is totally oblivious. He's being used. And then he starts to, somebody tells him what they're doing. And then he doesn't believe that. He thinks that he really is a spy, like a sleeper agent. So there's this chance this big that maybe he is a sleeper agent that they're waking up, but he's not. But he thinks he is,
No, that's the great thing about it. Absolutely, man. It plays with the spy tropes, but it's also a comedy at the same time. It's great. And it's, I love reading about real espionage. And you in the backstory of the idea of a Spy Superb, you throw in a World War II element and the OSS. And really, they did initially, especially during the war, they did pick not necessarily everyday people, but they did pick a lot of people for their specific skills that weren't being used for intelligence, and then employed them during the war, and these people became spies. I know one of my favorite stories is the catcher Mo Green, who was like a third string Boston Red Sox catcher, but the guy ended up being one of the most effective spies during World War II, and even I think in the early days of the CIA as well.
Yeah, no, those are great. In World War II, there was so many. I did so much research for Super Spy, like real research. And so most of that stuff, it's 90% fiction, but it's all based on real things that happened in World War II. There's so much real stuff in there, and where they would hide, they hid like fake codes on a body that they dumped in the river, which is
yes.
I think they made a movie about that like recently.
Did you see that Netflix movie? It was
the British because I was like, I did.
You didn't want to be influenced. I'm sure you didn't want to be influenced. Yeah. And for everybody else who isn't writing an espionage comic, Operation Mincemeat. It's on Netflix. It's a World War II story, semi-true. Also involving, he's a minor character in the story, but Ian Fleming, when he was in British military intelligence during World War II. Great movie, great story. And yes, that is one of the things they do is put a fake body out there with papers to suggest that this is a dead agent.
Yeah. No, it's in my take on that story, which was that it was told from the point of view of the wife of the guy. So it's like her feelings about having her husband's body used for this mission, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, there's Spy Superb, there's actually like crossover. There's like the Super Spy from the original Super Spy book. There's a little flashback in Spy Superb that sort of shows part of that story that's relevant to the modern day story, where he was one of the to me it was the only funny part of Super Spy was this super spy who has all this cool stuff, and then he runs up the beach and then basically blows himself up. And that's how this idea of using an idiot as a super spy was born there. And so I sort of took that idea from Super Spy and set it in modern day. It's the same organization, and they've been doing it for years. And I don't know. Anyway,
I love it, man. Is this a finite series? Is it an ongoing? What's the plan?
It's everything can be ongoing. I had like basically like 120 pages or 140 pages worth of material to tell the story. And so I was like, that's the story, but I never say never. I never say I'll never go back to it. And even when I was doing this, every issue, there's like an 8-page backup story in it that sort of reveals more about one of the characters that's in that issue. And that wasn't part of the original script or the story or anything. But as I was drawing it, I was like, oh, it would be cool to do these 8-page backups, sort of beef it up, and also like tell some stuff that can't fit in the main storyline. And then I did those 8 pages in the style of the old Super Spy graphic novel. So like it's the same format and everything, and the color's the same. And it was kind of fun to go back and work in an old way that I hadn't worked in for since that book came out.
Wow.
And they're
That's a long
numbered.
time ago. That was it's like 15 years ago, 207.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I looked it up and I was like, wow, that was a while ago. So it was kind of like a walk down memory lane to pick up some of my old materials and do it in a different way.
Matt, I think that's the first time we talked was when Super Spy was out.
Yeah, probably. Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
mean, we also, of course, talked about Pistol Whip.
Yeah.
And of course, with our mutual love of old time radio and everything, a fine crime book. But yeah, man, no, this is great, and really this first issue, and I would imagine, I don't know if the rest of them are as oversized as the first issue is. It's like
they're all fat. I want to do big fat issues. I remember when Paul Pope THB, when his issues were coming out, like they're in single issues. I remember the first one I picked up, it was so fat it would barely fold, and it was on the stick paper, and I was like, man, there's nothing better than picking up a comic and it's just like a fat thing, and it's going to take you a while to read it. And so I wanted every issue to feel like that, and it costs a little more, but I was like, I would rather pick up this fat thing, than like a 20-page thing with ads in it or whatever. I just, I don't know. I love the format of comics.
Is it oversized as well as being fat? Is it bigger than a regular size comic or no?
No, it's regular size. Like the dimensions are normal.
Okay,
but it's just a ton of pages. Yeah.
No, Matt. That's great. And honestly, I keep saying this to friends that are putting out first issues right now. Hey, it's a crowded bookshelf, man. And I think the onus really is on the creators these days to give more than 20 pages in a first issue and really be like, okay, you know where we're going, you know what the concept is. Do you want to keep going? And we feel like, all right, you gave us a nice meal to get things started. What's the cover price on Spy Superb?
$7.99.
All right. Don't worry.
Here's the thing, there's no ads, and every single part of it has something in it. Like there's a secret code. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I sort of followed like Mind Management. The issues were like that too, where I felt like I just want to pack every part of it with something, So it has two covers. It has the fake cover and the real cover, and then a bunch of hidden stuff. Every issue has a little bit of something different in it. I don't know.
Well, I think you're doing a hell of a job. 48 pages beyond the cover. So yeah, that's definitely great. I'm gonna if it's okay, I might even show a couple of the pages here.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do.
Cool. Again, the guys at Superman and people at Super Pulse were incredibly kind to send me a PDF of the book. Here we go. Let me grab it here. There it is. Stand by. Boom. So there you go, everybody. Yeah. And again, in Matt's very distinct style, little dead body in the trunk. Pretty. What's that?
I got to mention too, my wife did all the painting on it. So my wife did all the color, and so that's all of her watercolor work on it.
Hey, that's awesome. Had she done it before?
Yeah, we've done Department H, the series before the last series I drew, I guess. She painted all of that. And so we get along well. We like working together.
I hear you. Absolutely. Here's a Department H cover.
Oh yeah, man, you had that handy. Yeah, she painted that whole series, and then she needed a break. She wasn't a huge fan of the monthly deadlines, so I gave her a break, and now we were back at it again. And we worked far enough ahead where the deadlines weren't as much of a stressor as they were last time.
That's terrific. That's excellent, man. Well, again, they're always. I love the watercolors, and I love your art. So that's a wonderful combination. I also think back to, I think maybe the last time we talked was when you had Bang out, another great kind of spy crime thing that you did.
Yeah. No, I can't get away from spies. I don't know what happens. Every story I have, that somehow spies end up in it.
I got no problem with that, man. I love a good espionage comic. Has Dynamite ever approached you about doing James Bond?
They did ask me to do it, and I told them the same thing I told Dark Horse that when they had the Star Wars licenses. Like, there's some properties where I'm just I'm too much of a fan of the thing that I don't want to be part of it. I want to be an observer of it. I ended up doing like a short little Star Wars thing because I found I had an idea where after I turned it down, I was like, oh, I have an idea where I could do it where I'm basically writing from the point of view of side characters. So I'm writing from the point of view of fans of like Han Solo, or you know what I mean, and or what. So I figured out a way in. But with James Bond, I was like, there's no way. I don't know. This is the thing I can add to that. I'd rather just be a fan.
I haven't seen. I was just telling. I forget who I was just talking to. I'm like, I had to confess, I still haven't seen Die Another Day yet because I don't want to see him die, man.
Spoilers. Here's the thing. I love all the James Bond movies. There's something in all of them I love, and
Me too.
I don't know about the new one. I was like, I don't
And
know.
I love Daniel Craig's run, and even and I'm sure you feel the same way. Spectre had a few clunky parts, and Quantum of Solace had a few clunky parts. I love Casino Royale.
Every James Bond movie has clunky parts. Every single one. I rewatched when I was doing Bang. I rewatched every one, because I'd seen them all. I rewatched them all again, and yeah, they all have like terrible parts in them, but it doesn't keep me from loving them. And,
I feel the same way, Matt. I always say I'm like Father Flanagan, the old Boys Town priest, and like he always say there's no such thing as a bad boy, and I'm like there's no such thing as a bad James Bond actor. Even George Lazenby is to me the best Bond film, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and he's not the actor that Connery or Moore or all of them are. He's probably the last as far as talent, but he's still James Bond, and I think he still did a great job.
No, he's good, and that was one of the best ones story-wise. And then I thought Timothy Dalton was the one where when I rewatched, I was like, oh, it aged well. Like I thought he did really, it was really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. And I know he did that Looney Tunes Back in Action movie where he played kind of a Bond parody as Brendan Fraser's dad. And as he got older, I'm like, now's when he should be playing James Bond. Like 50-year-old Timothy Dalton, it's like he would be an amazing. I mean, he was fine in the 80s, and I agree with you. I think those movies have aged better than we realized. But man, it's like, oh man, we really blew it. We should have gotten him in the 90s.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So too funny, man. No, I'm with you. That's great. And I don't know. Would you go back to Bang?
Yeah, I have like 2 or 3 more books worth like ready to go. It's just to me, it's a matter of time. Like I'm a finite human being with limited time on this earth, and so I'm really writing. I'm doing too much already. I was trying to scale back and looking at the schedule, and like I'm booked through like 2024. Where I was talking to the editor today, and we're talking about books in 2024. I was like, and then I had 3 books today that he didn't know about. I was like, here's 3 I haven't told you about. Secretly working on them. He's like, those are 2024 books, Matt. I was like, I know.
So like, is that an editor at a publisher, or is this your own personal editor?
It's my editor at Dark Horse. So yeah, I've worked with Daniel Shaban at Dark Horse, and Chuck's his assistant, and they're great. And then we've been working together for years. And Dark Horse has been a great home for me, and that's why I pitched them the idea of doing an imprint, Flux House, which isn't much different except now I just want to exert total control of like the design and the production, and pick different paper, have weird cover, like these paper covers. Things that I don't know. I think I was getting like trade paperbacks comps and everything in. I was looking at them and I'm like, I just started to get bummed out about like my books when they come in. And I was like, well, I'm so sick of just the standard like trade paperback, and then it's like, oh, it's cool. And I'm proud of everything inside, but I want to be excited about the book when I pick it up. I want it to feel cool and look good. And the paper inside is like a surprise, and the covers have something to them. And so the whole idea with this is that every book is going to be either slightly weird in format or size or paper or design somehow.
I can't blame you. Again, crowded bookshelf. The book needs to stand out, and the cover is the first advertising that, catches the eye when you're in the shop. And so, no, that's great. And like I said, I had no idea that you had the plain brown wrapper secret cover and everything. That's terrific.
No, that's so I wanted to take a picture of it on the shelf because I wanted it to look like just a piece of trash just got,
Yeah,
like, why is this trash on the shelf with all these comics?
I think it's a great idea. Absolutely, man. Well, very exciting. Is Spy Superb on the racks this week or is it next week? When is it?
Yeah, it came out a week early, so it was out this Wednesday.
Wonderful.
And I don't know when this is airing or when you're putting up.
Tomorrow. Well, I mean,
yeah.
we're live now,
Okay.
but yeah, we'll
Yeah.
the audio will be out on Friday.
Yeah, so you can get it. You'll be able to get it now. It's supposed to be
And
out
over there, man.
It's out now. Go
Yeah,
get
man.
it.
No, that Matt, honestly, it's so great, and I really always appreciate, even though there are a lot of books within the spy genre. We think of things like Mind Management and Department H and all the different things you've done, and I just think a lot of times you blend genres really well when you do that, and no, it's always fresh and interesting, and really I always appreciate your mind and what you're thinking about in your books and everything, man. So way to go. And I'm very excited for more Spy Superb. I know there's another project coming in the spring and maybe in a month or two, we'll touch base and talk about that as well.
Yeah, no, I have there's a couple of cool things coming out in the spring that I'd love to come back and talk about, but yeah, Spy Superb right now. And then something else I was going to say, I forgot. It doesn't matter. Yeah, pick it up. No, I think like this run of books that's coming out this next year, and with Flux House as the imprint, the idea for me was to push things, and then do things differently than I've ever done before, And I was even talking to Dark Horse. I'm like, if we've done it this way before, let's stop. I don't want to do it that way again. With everything, with printing and all that stuff. And I told my wife, I was like, it's a fine line between pushing the envelope or being experimental and self-sabotage. So I feel like a couple of these books coming up, I was like, am I self-sabotaging myself, or am I just doing this because I'm bored, or I think I want to stay interested and excited about comics. And the older I get, it's just like everybody, like the older you get, you've read the same things over and over again. I get bored of it. I don't want to be bored of the medium that I love. So I'm just trying to stay interested.
I so hear you, and I can point to my own broadcast/podcast career in the same idea that I keep wanting to do different things. And of course it's, we're at the beginning of the year and everything. So of course we're, your New Year's resolution. Yeah, but no, you have a game plan, and it's like, all right, I'm older than you, but again, we're both like, adult men, and it's like, all right, we know the clock's running. What do we want to do before we can't do it anymore? Not that we can't do it anymore, but it's like, all right, clock's running. Don't waste time. Let's get some new ideas.
No, it's true. And you find that I feel like I found a system of working and writing and creating and once you figure out that system, then you can begin to like be super productive. But also that system you run the danger of just being repetitive or doing the same things over and over again, or repeating things that I don't know. And so I was talking to my dad the other day about this, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to unlearn everything. And he's like, we went to school and you learned how to do. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I'm trying to unlearn all of it. I want to come at it like fresh, like when I first got into comics, I didn't know what I was doing, and you make dumb mistakes, but you also end up doing something original accidentally almost. So that's what I'm trying to do, is kind of unlearn everything and then accidentally do something new and original.
You want to leave yourself open for what Orson Welles used to call happy mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's most of my career has been basically a happy mistake.
Honestly, man, we did an online convention, me and the Mainframe guys. And I think I just produced the Bad Idea hour. And I do know that you didn't talk to me, you talked to somebody else about it. So this is my first opportunity to ask you about your time with Bad Idea. Are you still doing stuff with Bad Idea?
Yeah, I'm still doing things. And I had to scale back a little bit, only just like a couple of months ago over the summer, because I was trying to finish up Berserker, which is taking up a ton of time. And then these new books, launching Flux House was just like there's so much involved. Like I'm touching every page of design and covers and everything. So it was just a lot, but I'm still doing doing things. A lot of it is like 8-page hero trade stories with Dave Lapham, who I'm like,
Yes.
I'm just like the hugest fan of. Like,
Yeah, me too, man.
Hall of Fame, legend. Like, I can't believe I'm working with him, kind of thing. And so, I'll always do, if he's got time in his schedule, like I'll be there. If he, part of it is like, I was like, you don't need me. It's like, what am I doing here? But I will definitely do it.
But it's cool to see the two of you guys together. I wouldn't think to put you guys together. And that's what's exciting. And no, I'm so with you. When I got back into comics in the very late 90s, early 2000s, Stray Bullets was one of those, holy shit, look at this guy. Who
Man,
is
I read it again last summer. I got the big omnibus or whatever, and it's the first time I sat and read the whole thing all in a row. And I was, man, still so good. He's so good. His craft is his storytelling's so good. He's just one of those guys where I write a script and then he's made it better. Like, he'll combine a panel or do these little things that nobody notices except me, and the editor. And I was like, I'm getting better by working with him.
it's in their name, Bad Idea. I mean, and obviously it's a joke, but the fact that they are a print only product is really did that intrigue you in terms of wanting to work with them?
Yeah, I know there's a lot of crossover with what I'm doing at Flux House and Bad Idea. I think just it's just the idea of, like, you want to keep people interested. I want to keep people in this this, I don't know, I hate calling it even a hobby. It's like an art form.
Yeah.
So I just want to keep people interested. I want comics to be a vital form of storytelling, and however we got to do that, doesn't matter to me, as long as it keeps people engaged and interested in talking about comics and looking at them as more than just like a vehicle to sell a movie or something. Like, to me, it's like print, paper. There's got to be a reason we're doing it on paper anymore too. So make it worthwhile. Make it worth killing a tree. It's got to be good.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I haven't talked to Frank Miller yet, but I've had a few conversations with DiDio last year about Frank Miller Presents, and that intrigued me as well, that they're doing paper only. And that's I appreciate that. Man, it bums me out, and again, we're close enough in age that there are fewer and fewer places for young people to go in, and like stores, like record shops, bookshops, and comic shops, thankfully, are one of these last bastions that are still around and thriving. And God, we were all scared during the pandemic of what was going to happen to the comic shop. And, like a tough boxer and stuff, took a beating, but got up off the canvas. And it's like, no, we're fine. We got more fight in us and everything.
Yeah, no, you've been around longer than I have, even in comics, probably. But I remember, like, I've been following comics even as a fan since the late 80s, and the comics has been a dying art form since the 80s. And I remember, like, back when the Comics Journal was a magazine on paper, every month, like, I was like, oh man, this is the end. I was like, no, I was like, not gonna kill this zombie.
Frank, you're right. That's a good analogy. Frank Miller used to say, when he got in the business, like in the late 70s, everyone's like, what are you doing, man? It's going to go away. And, that was almost, over 40 years ago. Yeah. So, it's no, it's crazy. And and there is something about paper that you really do appreciate it. And I mean, I read a ton of digital ebooks and comics as well, but there is something about paper that really does make it special. And you're making that extra effort to make things like Spy Superb that much more special. So that's terrific, man.
Yeah, no, and I think, there's a place for digital too. And I Super Spy, ironically, started as a digital comic. I formatted that for the PlayStation Portable, a little PSP game system. But every panel is the exact size of those of the screen on that thing. And I did it as digital first because I was doing 8 pages every week for a year and just putting them up digital for free. And I had fun. If you read it that way, if you click through it, it's a totally different read. And there's like things that happen with animation and panning that they're not in the comic because you don't get it. But if you're clicking through, there's like panning of the camera that happens. There's like zooming in windows. There's a lot of fun things that I was able to do. So I think I have some ideas for digital only stuff too.
Oh, wow. That's great.
not against it. I have plans to do something that will work digital, and then there's a print version. I don't want to spoil what it is because I don't want anybody to steal it. The idea.
Hey, we'll
But I have
talk
an
about it when
idea.
you're ready. That's
It's
fine, man. No, God,
But different format of the storytelling is as important to me as anything. Like, it's fun to play around with.
no, absolutely. God, I think all right now, and I didn't realize it was Super Spy, but I think back when Alex DeCampi was doing some of her first stuff, and when not only the PSP, but even just the iPhone before the iPad, I was really worried for a long time. Like, is this gonna fuck up like the impact that a big splash page would have, and some of the other tropes of storytelling that we were used to in the standard comic book format, and it's like.
Yeah.
So, is this going to go away? And then thankfully the iPad came along, and it's like, all right, well, again, it's different, but it's still it at least mimics the traditional comic page. And then of course you can still go panel by panel if you want. Yeah, it really it's interesting. And yeah, God, now think about it. Here we are 15 years later, and the different things. So I'm excited to hear what and see what your plans are for digital.
Yeah, no, there's a print version and a digital version that work completely differently, but they whatever, probably next year. I gotta carve out some time to get it done.
I understand. No, that's awesome. So, all right, you mentioned Berserker before. Good Lord, man, way to go! I'm so happy for all four of you that are there on the mast. But I mean, obviously, I know you. I finally met Ron Garney at last year's C2E2. Got to hang out with him a bit. Really great guy. And I was just telling you off the air, I missed Keanu Reeves when he back in the 90s, he came through Chicago with his band. And one of our hosts at the Score, the sports station, met him and said, hey, man, come to the station. And he did. And he was terrific. And I missed him that day, but everyone said what a great guy he was. So tell me about how did Berserker happen?
Yeah, no, it's great. And he's great. And it was one of those projects we talked about a little bit earlier, but when I was asked by Boom to come and have the meeting and talk about it, I was just honest with them, and I didn't want to do a book where I'm doing all the work and somebody else is putting their name on it. I'm not for that.
No.
And I don't want to. It doesn't matter who it is, And but then I met Keanu and we started talking about the story, and then I realized that he was engaged in doing the storytelling part of it, and then I'm not a big collaborator. I don't really work well with others. The only other person I'd ever co-written with was Jeff Lemire, but we were friends already, so it was like a natural thing where we sort of fell into it and started working on some things, and that worked out. But I think that experience helped me with this one, where I was like, oh, well, I see how it did work, and I was like, I think this can work, but it needs to be something where both parties are super invested in and are putting the time in. And Keanu was definitely one. He works harder than I do. There's times where he's like wanting to get on the phone or get to do Zoom, or wanted me to come out, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I was like, I had to find his windows because he's working all the time on so many things, and I thought I was working hard and working on a lot of projects. I was like, oh my gosh, he had even more going on, and so yeah, he really made me work hard, but he matched me, word for word and everything, and it's been a fun process. We just finished script for issue 12, like back in November. I think we finished it. So Ron's drawing it now, and it was a lot. It was a lot of work, but we got there. We had an idea for the ending, and we knew kind of where we were going, but until you actually figure out the pieces and how all the gears work to get you there, it's a little stressful. And then you don't know if you're gonna nail it, the ending, or really screw it up. And I think we did it. But
so how did Ron get involved with this?
Ron was Boom reached out to him like at the very beginning to see if he was available and was willing to do it. And I didn't know him personally at all. I knew of his work and everything, but yeah, they sort of like matchmaked everything, introduced me to Keanu and introduced us to Ron, and then Bill Crouchy I've been friends with for a while. So he I think I suggested him for color. I was like, I know this guy, I trust him. He's really good at storytelling, and sort of put the team together.
That's fantastic, man. No, that's great. So yeah, 12 wraps up the series.
Yeah, 12 wraps it up, and we it's a double issue. We needed like twice as many pages, and credit to Boom, we asked for it and they let us have it. But
is the plan to make it a Keanu film?
Yeah, Netflix bought it or optioned it or whatever, and so they're doing an anime like
oh wow,
great Japanese company. The name's going to escape me, but it's doing the anime version, and then there's going to be a live action version with Keanu. Hopefully, they're working on the screenplay now. So
wow.
But yeah, so it's one of those things where I was like, I don't want it to be that. I came in, I was like, it needs to be a really good comic. Like, let's make a good comic. Let that other stuff worry about itself, And then the thing is, like, if you do that, then the other stuff ends up being better, and that happens naturally. You don't have to do anything if the comic's good.
Yeah.
But the comic has to be good first. So that was always our focus. And we didn't talk about movie or anything until we were like almost done. and then part of it was the screenwriter. He was waiting for us to finish because we needed to finish standing before he could start. I was like, yeah, we'll figure out when we know it how it's ending, and we'll let you know.
That's fantastic. That's great, man. Jesus, have any of your other properties been optioned for movies or TV?
Yeah. Department H is in development. Mind Management is in development. Bang is in development. They're all at various stages of screenplays being written or rewritten or waiting on approval. What else? I tentatively keep tabs on it, but I like to let that business take care of itself, and I just keep making comics.
No, I get it. Yeah.
And it all works out. What people don't like, if you're a career in comics, you can make a career just doing comics, but options for different things like that, for me, has always been freedom. It's not like, oh, I want to get into movies, or I want to make movies, and comics is the vehicle to get there. To me, movies has always been the vehicle to let me do any comic I want to do and tell it my story exactly how I want to tell it. So all the movie option things has always been just a way to sustain myself in comics. So I keep doing that. I can do weird books like Spy Superb, and I don't have to worry about like how I'm going to pay the bills. Because I can just do what I want to do, which I've been lucky and fortunate and whatever. It's worked out, but super happy every day I wake up excited about working on more comics.
Well, and again, the attention that you put in your comics shows for itself, and like you said, that's only going to make whatever adaptations come from it better because of the attention that you do put on your stories and stuff. Did Substack come after you at all?
There was talk about it, but I'm so busy. It's like I don't have time for much else, and I'm just trying to stay focused on like the couple things I do, which is writing and drawing, and yeah, I don't know.
Do you engage your community at all? Back in the days of Mind Management or some of the other books, is there, and again, I love the idea of putting the secret code as you are in Spy Superb. That's great, man.
No, I do. I think it's fun to interact and have things where people can sort of interact and post things online. And like I'm on all the social media stuff to varying degrees. I dip in and out because I don't have as much time for that. My niece I hire as my assistant in the studio, and she helps me with a lot of that. Or she'll be like, hey, what about this, or whatever. So she helps me with a lot of the social media stuff and just keeping up to date on it, because otherwise I wouldn't have time. And also shipping things. If you buy stuff off my website, I don't have like a huge team of people like shipping stuff out. It's like me and her, and Charlene, my wife, will help too. So we're all like packing boxes once a week.
I can appreciate that, man. Absolutely. You haven't like played with crowdfunding, have you?
Yeah, I've done like 3 Kickstarters. I did
okay.
First Kickstarter was a Mind Management book and record. So it's a read-along book and record.
I remember that. Yes, I'm sorry. Of course.
No, that's right, and still available if you want one. I have a handful of those left. But that was my first one. And I really did that one because Dark Horse didn't really want to do, they don't know anything about records. And it was a dream project. And I got Mr. McElroy, the father of the McElroy brothers, to do the voice acting on it.
Wow.
He was a fan of my management. Just like by odd coincidence, my agent introduced me to him. And I was like, hey, this dream project can happen. So we did that. And that was the first one. It went well. And then the next one was, what did I do next? I did two over a pandemic. I did Cosmic Detective, which was the book I wrote with Jeff Lemire and David Rubin, did the art. And then a Heck anthology, which was like an anthology book I did with Brian Hurt and Marie Enger, who I share a studio with.
Yes, indeed.
We did both of those. They were staggered, but it ended up being, one of them ran late because one of the creators, I'm not going to name his name, he knows who he is. And it wasn't David Rubin. Was a little bit late on art, but so like the books ended up being printed at the same time, fulfilling at the same time. It was a lot of work. So those are the last two I did, and then Berserker started as a Kickstarter too.
Of course it did. Shame on me. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it did. No, and good Lord, what a successful Kickstarter! One of those wonderful stories where you pass. Was it a couple million? It was a couple million, wasn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it was good, and I think it was a weird time too, where we wanted to be respectful and not like cut out retailers. So I think we did all of these. We did in a way where it sort of incorporated retailers and was, I mean, without the brick and mortar, where are we going to be? So there's nothing better than walking into a curated shop that has like great stuff you haven't heard of, like who's got time to keep up with it, but you have a shop owner that's putting it out there, and so you can walk in and it's like the most fun thing ever. So
agree, man. Well, like I said earlier, absolutely. And it's, thank God, the shops that survived and thrive post pandemic and everything. It's no, it's a great thing. And you're right, they do. A lot of the smarter stores really do curate their shop and really make it distinct and stuff. Yeah, I right now I'm thinking of a bunch of not only Chicago but suburban Chicago stores that I adore. So I hear you. Nerdette says Happy New Year, and hey, it's nice to see you, Nerdette. I'm glad you're watching. Thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So I was going to ask too about conventions this year. What's going on for you with 2023?
I was right before this, I was sketching out my booth design for this year, and I haven't figured out which shows I'm going to do, or Target. I'll just say Target. But I was telling my wife doesn't like when I refer to it as my farewell tour, but I'm doing a tour this year that I'm tentatively calling my farewell tour.
Okay.
Because I want to do more of an installation, sort of exhibition rather than just like a table where you come up and sign, sketch, or whatever. I want to do something that's more of an interactive, with like maybe like a, I don't know, like a questionnaire you fill out, and then there's an experience that happens and you get something, and then whatever. I want to do something that sort of breaks that mold of just like you're coming in giving money for a book. I want to do something where it's more fun, for everyone, and last year I did a test run of like these commissions, typewritten commissions, which is an idea I'd had forever. And I had like a little typewriter, and then instead of sketching like Spider-Man, you like, what do you want? Tell me what your sketch commission would be, and I will do a typewritten version of it instead. Like, so it's a paragraph describing like a scenario. Like, I did Amazing Fantasy 15 with Spider-Man on the front end. So I just sort of described that, and then it's Peter Parker's, the thoughts running through his head as he's like worrying about getting his girlfriend and like paying the rent and everything. And so I was doing those, and it was really fun to have people come up and like spit out an idea, and then I just type it up on the spot. So
wow,
it was a little stressful because I'm like, I don't want to make any typos. Also, like writing it as you're typing it. But it was kind of a fun exercise, and it kept me entertained. And then the hardest one was a guy wanted it in a sketchbook, so we had to like feed the page into the typewriter. I wasn't sure it would work. we got it in there. We got it in there. But anyway, it's going to be more like that. I want something a little more interactive in a space where you can walk into it and then sort of interact.
Wow.
It'll be fun. So we'll figure it out. I'm still sketching it out. And I think Heroes Charlotte is going to be like the first draft of that or whatever. We're going to see how that goes.
Wow.
And then hopefully implement it. I'd love to go to Seattle and New York and Chicago, but I got to figure it out.
Man, I'd love to see it. I hope our convention schedules coincide that I do get to see it. That sounds great. Yeah. And what you're describing about typing out, a commission like that, it sort of reminds me of when Harlan Ellison would do his stunt of sitting in the bookstore window and typing a story and putting up the pages in the window as he was getting it done.
Oh my God. That's great. I forgot all about that. Yeah, no, exactly that. I think part of it, you just, I don't know. You do conventions enough. It's the same thing every time. And I just want to do something that makes me a little nervous.
No, Matt, that is great. And that is exactly what all creative people need to do, is scare themselves a bit with an idea of a project and have the guts to follow through on it. And again, based on everything that we've been talking about, that's kind of what you do. And I think it's wonderful. It's only going to keep you fresh and excited. And yeah, I don't blame you, man. No, it's when I always working in radio, the dreaded at first when you're breaking in, they're like, hey, you want to be broadcasting from the auto show? And you're like, yeah, sure, that's going to be great. And then you do the auto show, and it's like the biggest slog. It's in Chicago. It's in February. It's after the Super Bowl. It's that February and July are like the worst sports months because it's too early for hockey and basketball to get exciting. Spring training hasn't started yet. Football is just over. And you're just trying to figure out what you're going to talk about for those 28 days in February. Yeah, and I always say when comic conventions get like the auto show, you gotta change things up and make it fun for yourself again as a pro. So I can understand.
Yeah, no, that's it. And the thing is, like, I am so grateful. Like, you go to conventions, and I joked to my wife too about it. I was like, I don't think it's healthy to sit at a table and have people tell you how good you are, or how great your stuff. I was like, that's not good for you, anybody. I was like, I appreciate it and I do like it in a way, but I also think I need to. I don't want to. Whatever. I'm just trying to stay grounded, and then I think a way to stay grounded is to just do some weird things at the booth and try to give back somehow. Like, I don't know, type things up, have questionnaires. I think I'm gonna have a photo op with like some kind of crazy backdrop where you can get your photo, like souvenir photo taken. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
That sounds fantastic. Give my best to Brian Hurd. I haven't seen him forever.
Yeah. No, I will. We're having dinner tonight after this, and then I think we're gonna.
Oh, that's great.
Play some board games.
Hey, what board games are you guys gonna play?
We tonight we're playing Wingspan. I've been wanting to play it for a while. It's one of my favorites, and has these little eggs, and like that you place and blah blah blah. But I was like, hey, tonight we're gonna play it with these chocolate eggs, the Cadbury chocolate eggs. We're gonna substitute those, and then when you use them, you eat them. And he said he'd be right over.
That sounds great. Do you have time? Like you said, you wanted to avoid No Time to Die, or forgive me, not No Time to Die. Forget what you said that you were avoiding. Oh, the Operation Mincemeat, because it's a little too close to home. But are there shows that you've been watching or movies or whatever? What's been intriguing you lately?
Gosh, we just watched Bullet Train over the holiday, and that was fun. I really enjoyed that. I'm trying to think what else we watched that I like. I only talk about things I like, which is why I'm always like, no, I didn't like that one. I hated that. but I try to be my especially on social media too. Like, my rule is to just be positive. Like, nobody wants to hear. I don't want to hear about the thing you hated. Like, tell me the good thing so I can go find it. So I'm trying to think of what else. Bullet Train I enjoyed. I'm a huge fan of Psych, the TV show Psych.
I loved Psych. James Roday and Dule Hill.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that show.
We always watch it with our daughter, but she's in college now, so she came home for Christmas, and so we say Psych 3, there's a new movie. So we watched that over the holidays.
Did they make another movie?
Yeah, it's a third movie. So they've been doing these sort of standalone movies. And third movie is so funny, so good. We watched it twice over the holiday.
Where's that streaming?
What's that? Oh, it's I think it's on Peacock.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so
Peacock. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't. I think I had it, dropped it, and then we resubscribed so we could watch it. And totally worth it. I highly recommend it.
I'm a big West Wing fan, and I love Dule Hill on West Wing.
Oh man, he's so talented. And the new one is focused on him, and he's the funniest part of it. He has a dummy, and he uses as part of his disguise. Maybe the funniest thing. Anyway.
The Guster, absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm excited. That's good. Sean and Gus, absolutely, man. Too funny. Oh, that sounds great. I had no idea there's a third movie. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I vaguely heard about it, and then I didn't think about it until she came home, because that's always been our show. We have dinner and watch some Psych, and I think we watched every season at least 3 or 4 times. We've been through every season, and
I love their Twin Peaks parody.
Well, that's the first time I heard about it. Somebody sent me that because I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan, and I was like, "What is this show where they did a whole?" And it was fun to see the Twin Peaks cast, and I was like, "I have to try this." But,
it's a great crazy episode, but yeah, they really obviously understood and really got Twin Peaks. And just when they, when someone really go off on a emotional tangent, they'd cut to Gus, and he's weeping, and he has, these are all strangers, but he's weeping at their stories and stuff. What are you doing?
If any of my books get made into anything, I'm going to do everything in my power to get all the Psych cast put in there somewhere. Get Dule or Jane, whatever, all James of them. Get them in there.
Lassie, I don't even know what Lassie's doing these days.
Yeah.
James Roday had an ABC show post Psych that I didn't get into, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing it, because I always do like his stuff. I don't know. Too funny. Well, dude, honestly, I'm thrilled with what you're doing as always, and again, Spy Superb, excellent start. It's out this week, and it's part of Flux House, which is Matt's imprint at Dark Horse. And as you said, Hero Image, a bad idea?
What's that? Hero Trade. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave, yeah. So that's cool, and that's still going on. And then we've got a new announcement coming up in March. Around spring for an April release, and we'll talk about that when it's closer. I guess we're looking forward to the wrap up of Berserker as well. And direct people to your website if they want to pick up Pistol Whip or Department H or Mind Management and Bang.
No, you can go to mattkindt.com. Has everything there. I have there's a Mind Management board game. That record's there. Everything I've got is there. So, check it out. I sign it all, sketching things. Sometimes I put random fun things in your package. If I've had my coffee, you get a little something extra.
Always something different for Matt Kindt, and I love that about you, man. And really, I'm glad you mapped that out for everybody. We can tell from the different books that you do really put an effort to make everything different and fun. And it's just good to hear you lay it all out. And I'm excited for what's coming out in 23, and it sounds like you're going to have a busy 24 as well.
Yep. Yeah, something every month for the next 2 years, whether you want it or not.
That's fantastic. We love hearing stuff like that. All the best. Give my best to Brian. I don't want to keep you from dinner or game night.
Yeah. No, I wasn't rushing you. I'm just bragging about the fun I'm going to have.
I'm thrilled, man. No, I think that's excellent. And as always, I really appreciate talking. And we'll talk in a couple months, and we'll talk about the new book and catch up more on Spy Superb and everything else. It'd be great.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks everybody for watching. I think that's it for news shows this week on Word Balloon, but we're gonna have new stuff next week. I'm talking to Danny Fingeroff. He wanted to come on and talk about his Stan Lee biography that he wrote and celebrate the centennial of Stan. Hoping to talk to Matt Singer, the movie critic, and we'll talk about the best stuff from 2022 and what he's looking forward to next year. So among that and more on the next Word Balloon Lives. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy.